Howdy team, happy Thursday. I am enjoying the window because it's not raining. That's been nice. Today's one of the first days that I've ever wished that I had a window in my office. So I've been hanging out up here for a little while just enjoying that. But let's get started. Big lesson this week. A really practical lesson this week. And also, I can't tell you everything that's going on, but let me just say this is very timely. A lesson about the importance of making wise decisions is really timely for a lot of our students. I wish I could tell you more, and I can't. I'm sorry, but just take my word for it. This is definitely what our students need to hear this week. So really take this one seriously, please. Let's dive in. Option number 2 is better than option number 1, but neither one of them are really particularly great. And so let me challenge you to instead just ask the question, what is the dumbest thing you've ever seen somebody else do? And that'll lead to some funny things, be some fun conversations, a lot of laughter, maybe a serious conversation or two, but then flip it on them, say, okay, what's the dumbest thing that you've ever done? After they've had the opportunity to mock other people, let's mock ourselves. And again, if you want to share, that's fine. But keep it lighthearted at first. You don't want to dive into really serious, dark, deep stuff right out the gate. That just never ends well. But I think that's a much better starter question for you. Should lead to some fun conversations. Look at the second paragraph on page 99. Man, that is so good. In Solomon's case, there's no outright rejection of God. He wasn't setting God aside. He was adding other gods around the Lord. He wasn't disregarding the Lord altogether. He was partially regarding the Lord. He chose to follow Yahweh alongside other gods. So many times our students don't seem to understand, adults don't understand this sometimes either, that idol worship isn't just bowing down before a statue. Idol worship is any time we put anything above God, or even any time we put something on the same level as God. That would include ourselves. And every single time that we do that, we are committing the sin of idol worship. And another way of seeing idol worship is anytime we just simply tell God, yeah, I know you said don't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Or I know you told me to do this, but I'm not going to do that. We are telling God, you're not as important as you should be. That's idol worship, among other things. So we got to get the kids to see that. That's what Solomon was doing over and over again. So really want to help them understand this principle of idol worship and how that happens all the time. That's not just an Old Testament thing, right? Solomon really liked women and stuff. You can see that from his life. In fact, the book of Ecclesiastes, which we'll get into next week, we kind of see really in depth how depraved he ended up getting. But the problem was really just simply this. Solomon was taking the God-given desires that he gives all of us, that being for the opposite sex, and to enjoy his creation, the stuff that he gives us, but he let those passions supersede his passion for God. I frequently like to ask students this question. It says, do you want God or do you want God's stuff? And if we want God's stuff more than we want God, again, that's idol worship. But that's what Solomon was doing, is he was allowing these God-given desires, these desires for good things, a spouse, the desire for peace even, the desire for creation that he's given for us to enjoy, and he was allowing that to supersede his desire for God. And that's what led him down the dark road. So help the kids to see that too, because that's exactly where a lot of them are. They want stuff. They want a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And those aren't necessarily bad desires, but they can lead us down a dark road really fast if we're not careful. I want you to notice too, Solomon desired peace. The problem was the fact that Solomon was willing to obtain that peace in a way that God told him not to do it. And that's a peace that's never ever going to last. And there are ways that students and adults, again, alike, we will try to make peace for ourselves, but doing it in ungodly fashion, and that peace won't last, ever. And so help the students to see that. That's a big deal. Last couple things. Finish chapter 11 in 1 Kings, and then go ahead and read chapter 12, just so you can see the follow-up. We won't get into Rehoboam and Jeroboam in our lessons. We're going to jump right over those guys. We get into some of the other kings later on. But how God tore the kingdom away from Solomon is pretty fascinating. The Lord meant it when he said that's what he was going to do. By the way, when the Lord says, I'm giving you 10 tribes and Solomon gets to keep one, some of the students are going to go ask, I thought there were 12 tribes. There are. The Levite tribe, though, that was the tribe that didn't have any land of its own. Levites were made up of all the other tribes. It was the firstborn of every family, and they're the ones who got to serve in the temple. So the Levites kind of went with the southern kingdom, and then kind of some of them went with the northern kingdom too. So anyway, don't let them get confused about that. Last thing, remind them, anybody can fall. The wisest guy in all of history fell. Anytime we get arrogant enough to believe that we can't be taken down by Satan, we become an immediate target for Satan. And that's exactly what Solomon allowed to happen in his life. Guys, I love y'all. I'm praying for you. I can't wait to hang out with you Sunday. We'll see you later. Bye.